I thought that I was going to be the first girl to ever play in the AFL.
I'll teach you both something. Don't answer back to coaching.
No, I'm feeling a bit flat. Like everyone's just heard him yell at me. And
Ask her about the time I screamed at her during training for kicking barrels from 50.
they were going to do well and I did well, and why couldn't I do it?
What's her biggest strength as a coach?
We'll never know where I went, but
Number one.
we
Number one.
don't.
Yeah, she's number one.
I reckon he was my welcome to the AFW moment. Like,
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to BackChat, powered by Paywise. Ella Roberts is going, holy shit, we just kicked off straight into media mode. That is who we have in the hot seat today. It's not a hot seat. Ella Roberts from West Coast, superstar of the AFLW competition. Ella, welcome.
thank you so much, guys. Very happy to be here.
Good. Glad to hear.
Always welcome. Anytime. Just
correct.
come on by.
Oh, yeah. If you want to some regular appearances, we'd have you.
Yep.
Not sure if you've followed BackChat at all over the past couple of years. But
Absolutely, yeah.
Good. So you should know what's coming. First
Somewhat,
question
yep.
to every guest. We want to know, thanks to TABtouch this year, of course, the BackChat is powered by Paywise, but this question in particular from TABtouch, your greatest sporting achievement not on the football field. We know you're an All-Australian best and fairest winning, Peel Thunder Premiership winning football player. We know that. You can play footy. Congratulations, right? We're about to talk about that.
We've all done it.
But before we get there, we want to know your greatest sporting achievement not on the footy field. You got anything for us?
I did forget that you actually asked this question, so I haven't had time to prepare.
That's
but
okay.
thinking back, the first thing that came to mind was probably just like inter-school champion girl. And down south, inter-school, so like when you verse other schools.
Yeah,
and
and what
stuff
That's
like
the good one to win.
like the overall champion girl.
Oh, so she's just
Athletics
Yeah,
carnival.
athletics carnival.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
So like, yeah, the running and stuff like that was my event. And
what event? If you had to pick
100
one.
metre sprint, I've never really lost. So
So you're undefeated over 100
undefeated
metres.
in high school, 100 metre sprint, yeah.
All right.
That's good. There was always that kid that won champion boy at the school, but then you'd go to the inter-school and they
Yes.
get dominated. So
No.
the fact that you won it inter-school,
Yep.
that proves.
That was, probably mine to this day,
That's good.
probably best sporting achievement.
So
ever.
as the distance gets bigger, do you get worse?
way worse. Like 400 metres, literally capped out there.
Is that right?
Yeah, and like 2Ks and stuff nowadays, just not for me.
Okay. I like that one.
Yeah,
I mean,
good.
Short and sharp.
No, that's good. Champion girl inter-school, that's a huge effort.
No
Yeah.
5 for 12.
No 5 for 16. Thank you for the 12, though. That 5 for
correct.
16, Shoot Hill Cricket Club.
No state champion in the beach flags, under nines.
Nah.
Okay, so you can't match
Some
that.
basketball stuff, but
Okay. No, I like that.
Nothing
Undefeated
exciting.
across 100 metres.
Yep.
You are born and raised in Margaret River,
correct.
down south of Western Australia. If you're tuning in from other states, what's life like growing up for Ella Roberts?
It's unreal. I'm very proud to be a Southwesterner and love it with my whole heart and probably will one day end up back down there, I reckon. So yeah, I think it just included a lot of beach, a lot of hanging around the same people. It's a pretty small town down there. So you kind of know everyone, and every time you go to the shops, you see someone you know. So very close environment, close community, but wouldn't have changed it for the world. Absolutely loved it down there. And yeah, like I said, probably will go back one day.
People see Margaret River and think surfing. Were you a surfer?
I get asked that a lot, and no, I've attempted miserably. Not for me. It's so much harder than it looks. And yeah, I actually wish I could say I'm a surfer, but not at all.
I know you've got siblings. How
Yes.
many?
Yep. So 3 brothers, an older brother who I've just moved in with actually.
Nice.
He played footy. I wanted to play footy, copied him. And then 2 little brothers as well. So yeah, we're all up in Perth now. We love it up here, but yeah, the Southwest is definitely our home.
So is competition big between siblings growing up? Like, are we trying to be the fastest, the strongest? Like, do you think that helped, given you're a professional athlete now?
Kind of. I think we're all kind of like, we're quite far apart in age. Like my older brother's 6 years older than me, so he kind of did his stuff and then I would do it like 6 years after. So we were never really at an age where we could compete with each other. But I think, like, yes, I would say so. Like, I think my brothers probably, like, I don't know, kind of look at me and think, oh, kind of want to be like that. But
So you're the best. Is that what you're saying?
oh, not at all. Not really.
Ellis,
Nah.
Claim it.
Oh, like I probably, on the outside perspective, yeah, probably looks like that.
So who's the favourite child then?
My older brother, Kane.
Okay.
He plays country footy and he's done very well for himself. He's won a few flags. So he's won flags. So he can't, complain with that at all.
That
But
is correct.
that's obviously my end goal as well for Eagles. So yeah, I guess he's one step ahead of me there.
You're the only girl though, right?
Yes.
So I'm sure your parents, you're the favourite.
Oh.
That's always the case.
I wouldn't even. I don't know. I feel like my older brother just got all the love.
Is your daughter the favourite?
Sorry, Louis, but yeah. I only have 2 to choose from though, so that's rough.
Yeah,
That's
true.
real rough, yeah.
So, spoken to a lot of girls that have come up through the AFLW system now, and we'll get to the back end and what you're doing right now. But from a sporting perspective, and in Margaret River, a smaller town, are you competing against girls your whole life, or is it boys and girls? Like, I find that element interesting.
Yeah.
You know, speaking of Daisy, your current coach, you know, she's playing with boys her whole life, basically.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think I was probably like the last kind of like all boys throughout my junior. So I played Oz kick with completely boys. I think there might have been one other girl at some point, but literally grew up with all the boys and then played with them my whole junior career. And then eventually I hit 14 and had to look for a girls team, and there wasn't one in Margaret River at the time, so I had to go to Bustleton, which was a 40-minute drive up the road, which was a bit tricky but made it work. And like nowadays it's so good to see that there's like 2 teams in Margaret River, the girls team. So yeah, the growth in such a short amount of time is absolutely insane. But I loved playing with the boys. I had no problems with them, and they never treated me like a girl, and they tackled me just as hard as each other. So I literally wouldn't have changed it for the world. And I think it's probably was good for my footy, like learning how to play footy like a boy. And I think that it did a lot for my like development and stuff like that. So yeah, wouldn't change it at all.
So you're driving down to Busso, a few times a week?
Yeah, probably twice a week, yeah, for training in a game. Yeah.
And mum, dad just getting in the car.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah, they were really good. Dad works away, so he kind of did all the work and stuff like that. So then mum would just drive me, and I also had another girl who was living in Margaret River as well, playing for Busso. So we kind of just took turns driving up and down the highway. But yeah, like I love spending time with like mum in the car. Like it was actually such a good like chance just to like chat just about whatever. And like I said, wouldn't change it. It was really good.
Yeah, how fortunate you got someone to drive you around.
Yeah, literally. Looking back now, I wasn't as grateful as I probably should have been.
Yeah.
Like also like when I played for Peel, like mum was driving me up to Mandurah twice a week, and I literally just thought it was a given. Like, thanks, mum. Love you lots. But yeah, she was amazing.
So what's the transition like then, going from playing with the boys to playing in an all girls team and against girls?
Yeah.
Do you feel like this is easier, or I don't know what you tell?
It was different because like I felt like I was just like a little girl at the time, and then I was playing against women. Like when I first joined Peel, I was 15 and I was playing in a women's team. So that was new to me, and I had never experienced anything like that before. And like, I don't know, women's bodies are bigger than girls' bodies. So like coming up to girls who had muscles and boobs and stuff like that, like literally like it was something that I hadn't experienced before. So yeah, it was an interesting thing, but yeah, it was really good.
And the dynamic, like the actual team dynamic and you know, in the locker room and the chat and like, I'm assuming all that completely changes, or is it the same?
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty similar. Like you're all, at the end of the day, you're just footy fans and you like playing footy, but it was different also because they were so much older than me, so it probably felt like sometimes I was like a little kid around, so probably wasn't involved in so much of the locker chat, just probably was listening to it. But yeah, it was good.
Who were you a fan of in AFL and AFLW at the time?
So I was a diehard Freo fan.
Is that right?
Yes, so that was interesting. I was a massive Nat Fyfe girl, so like he was my hero. I've got his like poster on my wall still. Like love him.
The Brownlow medal.
Like the one like that where he's like doing that with the ball. Yeah.
Get that off the wall.
I know, it's just cool. And he like
Is it still on the wall?
Yeah, it's in my room, yeah. He's like peak good looking there as well. So he's got his curls, his blonde curls.
Yeah.
So I was like, his biggest fan. I had like a Freo jersey with a 7 on the back. And then my whole family were Eagles fans. So I was always watching like Eagles and stuff like that. But
So how does that work?
just wanted to be different.
Is that right?
Literally, I wanted to be different. They were all Eagles fans. I thought, nah, I'm going to do something different and
Stuff you.
Rebellious.
Rebellious, exactly.
Daughter in the family.
Yeah.
It's cost you a couple of premierships at this
It
stage.
has. Literally, as soon as I went to Eagles, they stopped winning. So.
No, but I mean, as a fan, like you've picked Freo.
Yeah.
And in your life, I'm just trying to think when you would have been born.
2004.
Right. So, okay. So
Yeah.
2-year-old, 2006.
Yeah.
Missed it all. Let's call you. And then 2018, you lost it as 2. So, I mean, do you regret that decision being a friend?
Well, I remember watching the 2018 grand final, and that was the best thing ever. Like, I obviously wasn't an Eagles fan, but my whole family was, so I was feeling the emotions and stuff like that. Yeah. And that was like the best game I've ever watched ever. So, yeah, I kind of sucks that I wasn't like an Eagles fan at the time, but I was still so happy to see him win.
Yeah, it's really interesting talking to you about that. And again, this is a pattern across everyone we speak to. And I think like you can get caught up in girls' sport, men's sport, but in the end, we are all just footy nothing, and nuffies to a point. Like I think like people in footy, absolutely, and you'd know all your teammates now. Pretty much all of them just love footy, and it's the same with the blokes too. Yeah. And like that's actually the men women stuff. Like people get carried away with it, but like in the end, you just like playing with people that love footy.
Exactly.
Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Just like you got to appreciate a good footy game, and that was the best thing ever. So. Yeah, absolutely loved it. So
keen before we get to the AFLW to talk about your time with Peel. I was at the 2021 grand final because I was playing with Peel at the time.
Yes, I do remember that.
And so we were responsibly drinking in the canned bar, going nuts because it was a great game.
Yeah, it was close. It was close.
What can you remember about that?
Yeah, I'm trying to think now. I played in 2 flags, and the first one I think was definitely like the one that I remember the better. I think, your first flag is always something you'll never forget. So, it was a massive day. I was so nervous. I still was kind of finding my feet in like the league team. So, I wasn't sure how I was going to go. And, we ended up winning, and it was, unbelievable.
Didn't you get best on ground?
Nah, I didn't. Nah.
Did you win a best on ground in a grand final?
No.
Okay.
Nah. Okay. Unfortunately, no. I kicked 2 goals, which I was really happy with, but didn't get anything.
Because I remember watching you that day and thinking, because you were young, like you were, what?
I was 15, yeah.
And, the talk amongst the Peel, senior men's team was like, this Ella Roberts, she's a gun, and you killed it. Yeah. But you were 15 years old, playing against adults.
Yeah. Looking back, it's really weird to think, but I don't know. I think like the Peel team was really good at just like including me and making me feel like I was like one of them. I never really felt like I was like an odd one out or anything like that. So they kind of gave me a bit of a license to make mistakes and stuff like that. So because I was figuring my football out and I wasn't perfect, obviously. So
did you feel good enough to be out there?
Yeah, I I'm fortunate that I'm quite a tall girl. Like I never felt like I was like a child amongst them, like in terms of body wise. So
yes.
I just wasn't very strong at all. So that was probably something I struggled with a little bit. But, it was all right, actually.
Celebrations good after that?
Yeah. I went straight home, drove back to Margaret River straight after. Literally hopped in the car, home.
What does a 15-year-old do to celebrate winning a premiership?
Go back to school the next day.
Go to school. I literally, I think it was a Sunday, so I had school the next day. And like no one even cared. Like no one even knew that I was playing. So
you weren't getting like carried around on shoulders and stuff.
It was like a normal day at school the next day.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
So at what point in time do you want to play footy like professionally as a kid, or is there a time where you go, right, like I can actually do this now?
I think as a kid, like I thought that I was going to be the first girl to ever play in the AFL, like genuinely.
Is that right?
Yeah, I had always wanted to be a professional athlete, and I think it was just an athlete at the start, but then I realised how much I liked footy. So then literally when I was about like, I reckon 10 years old, I was like, I'm going to be the first girl to play in the AFL, and they can't stop me. Like, if I'm good enough, why wouldn't I be able to do that? And then I kind of was introduced to the AFLW, not even when it started. I didn't even know it was a thing in about like 2018. So I started hearing that it was a thing. And then I was like, wait, like that's where I'd be heading if I continue on with this. So just followed the AFLW for a bit, and then just became a bit of a fan, and then realised that's what I want to do with life. So
that's a cool goal to have if you're thinking as a 10-year-old
like,
kid. Like, I'm going to be the first girl to play in the AFL.
Yeah, I had there was no reason that I shouldn't been. Like I was keeping up with the boys who were my age, and if they were going to do well and I did well, then why couldn't I do it? Kind of thing.
That's really cool. I haven't heard that before.
Yeah.
So now, as an adult, do you think that's? I don't know. What do you think of that? Do you think that's realistic?
Not at all. Right. Not at all. Okay. No way. My body would be destroyed in a second. I have actually thought about it before, just like, no, genetically wise, there's not a chance ever.
Okay. Because I hadn't really thought of that, and I was like, oh, the AFLW is here now, but What if it wasn't?
Nah.
Yeah.
Genetically wise, there's no way. No.
Okay, very good.
Unfortunately.
Okay, that's really cool. That's a great story.
Yeah.
What about leading up towards getting drafted? What's that period of time like? And what's the sort of understanding you have leading into the draft with where you're going, how it's going to be picked up?
Yeah, that was an interesting year because I'd moved to Perth that year, so at the start of the year for year 12, which I was in, and then also draft year. So there was a lot going on just like in life. So I was
Who were you living with?
My whole family moved up, yeah.
Wow.
So they all packed up and moved up with me.
Amazing.
Kind of not just for my footy, for my brother's schooling, and my dad was working in the city at the time, so there were like reasons too. And they ended up loving it, so they're still up here now. But I was very busy with all that stuff. I had a few meetings with West Coast and Freo at the start of my draft year, and I pretty much, at the time it was a state-based draft, so I was going to nominate a state, and then that's where I would get picked up with. So I kind of knew the whole time that I was going to stay in WA because I was 17, still at school, was not ready to live by myself. So I basically kind of knew it was out of Freo or Eagles. And then, I caught up with West Coast for the first time, and they basically said, if we have the first pick, then we're going to pick you. So I kind of followed that year along with them and saw that they finished below Freo. So I kind of knew that if I nominated WA, I'd stay and go to West Coast. I did really want to go to West Coast because I had a few mates there already. And like I thought about the possibility of nominating nationally and if I got to be a high pick, which would have been really cool. But looking back, I'm so glad that I just, didn't chase a pick. Like I just stayed home, got to live at home for an extra 2 years, played footy with my mates, and turned out to be like literally the best decision I made. So it was a very busy year, but definitely a really good one.
Had some inside information come across the desk this morning, Ella, and I've been told to ask, which sounds interesting. What was going through her head training with Freo the week before the draft, knowing full well she was going to be picked under West Coast, running session a few days out from the draft with Ebony Antonio?
Yeah.
True or false?
Training session, no. I had a kick with her, and that was through my manager. Our managers were the same. So it was a bit like, not awkward, but I obviously knew that I wasn't going there. But she kind of did say to me, like, if you ever want to get a trade or something. I was like, oh, yeah. But no.
They're trying to work the Freo fan in here.
Yeah. No. It was cool. Like, I was at the time fangirling and thought it was the coolest thing in the whole world. But
absolutely.
Yeah, I did know that it wasn't going to happen.
I think back to when I was drafted long time ago, Ella. And I was the same. I did a kicking session with a guy from Hawthorn, and like there was no way Hawthorn would pick me up. But it was like, but it was cool. Like before you drafted, you're just nobody.
Literally, it was the coolest thing ever.
This is going to sound like a dumb question. What's going on in a kicking session? Are you just playing kick to kick?
Kicking,
like you and your
we
dad?
literally kicking to each other, just chatting.
Right.
Like it was so random, but it was cool. Like it's very cool.
Yeah. So you picked 14. Bit of research for this. It's pretty commonly held that if it was a regular kind of draft situation, you would have gone pick 1. So what, West Coast had priority picks in Western Australia? Is that how it worked?
Yes. So that was the year that all the new teams came in.
Right.
So they got, I think West Coast, they actually finished, I think on the bottom of the ladder that year. But then Sydney, Port Adelaide, Hawthorn.
Right. They hadn't been in the competition.
They were in the competition. So they had all those priority picks. I think they had the first 13 picks of the draft, and then I was 14. So, if I wanted to move into state, maybe I could have gone higher. We'll never know where I went. But
number one.
We don't.
Yeah, it's just number one.
But I chose to stay home, and it was a really good decision in the end. So
cool. So you walk into West Coast first day. Mm-hmm. What are your memories first day? You walk into
I remember meeting Hammer first day. He shook my hand, and I didn't realise how scary he'd become. Oh,
don't talk about it. Like, we don't need to inflate his ego any further.
I love him. I remember walking in, blown away by the facilities, meeting all the girls. I knew most of them, to be fair, prior, because like state and stuff like that, and they were quite a young team. So, knew Charlie, knew Bella before, and then, I just remember thinking everyone here's so nice, everyone here's so cool. and just like literally just like living my absolute dream. It was so cool.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Was like, was it a bit of a pinch yourself? Like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Maybe I've made it, maybe thought that, but just like, oh, this is real.
Yeah.
This is a facility. This is
literally, I was like, this is just like as good as it gets. Like you've seen the facility, like the ice baths and the pool, like the sauna, like it's all just like, holy hell, like this is all for like us.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, like we get like go in it whenever we want. We get to do all this stuff whenever we want. Like it's so cool. And I was like, I've literally the biggest fangirl ever.
Yeah.
And just thought it was the coolest thing in the world.
So, were you finding yourself spending more time there than you needed to? Just 'cause
yeah, absolutely. I probably did a lot of recovery and stuff. Then not so much anymore now. But yeah, like any day, literally any chance I could do. Like there was so much to do there, whether it be recovery or like the boots and stuff like that. The recovery boots, like there was so much to do.
So what about your debut, round 1, 2022?
Yep.
How'd
Port
you
Adelaide.
play?
All right, not great. That whole year was a bit average, but I think I just set really high expectations for myself and wanted to continue what I've been doing at Waffle to AFLW, and that was never really going to happen. So
What was the step up in quality like?
yeah, it was unbelievable. I just remember thinking, this is so cool to see so many good girls. And like, I remember thinking it was so much faster than any other game I've ever played in. Like kicks would get marked and then played on, and then like you had to be so fit to keep up with it, and I definitely wasn't fit enough at the time. And yeah, I just remember versing Erin Phillips, who literally was my idol, and once again fangirling her, and yeah, we also got the win, so it was literally couldn't have been a better day.
What's that like coming up against players that you've watched as a kid growing up? What's it like?
It's
Again,
so
I've got
surreal.
memories as well. It's
Yeah.
like Matty Lloyd one day, just
Yeah.
I bounced off him like I was a lacquer band, just like rolling around the ground. Like, this is a man.
Yeah.
Like, is it the same for you, like watching these girls like,
Definitely.
oh, Erin Phillips, shit.
Definitely, like, yeah, like I said, she was like my hero for the last couple of years that I was a fan of AFW, and seeing her just like in person up close and like lining up on her, and I was just like, this is crazy. Like her arms are 3 times the size of mine. Like this is so crazy. And I remember like trying to like tackle her, and she's just so solid and strong, and like the hype's real. Like she's so good, and it was so cool. And like, yeah, it was so cool that was like my first game and like versing my hero as well. So I think it was really good.
How old are you at this point?
17, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so still a little child.
Different to going to school the next day after
Yeah.
the premiership.
Yeah.
So then, what's that sort of like? As a 17-year-old, are you working at the time? What are you doing through your week as well as playing?
Yeah, so I was actually still in school.
Right.
I was in year 12 because it was that double season. So we started in like August. So I was finishing year 12 then. So it was a bit of a weird. Like I would go to trainings really early morning and then have to leave training early to go to school on like a certain day. And like I would never want to pay attention to school because I just wish I was at training and I felt like I was missing out. So it was kind of like I wasn't able to give like my 100% to either, which was kind of annoying. And like nowadays they don't let you draft the girls until they're out of school. So I think that's a really good thing because it's just too hard to give 100% into both. So I think it was really good for me. Like I guess I learnt a lot from doing that. But yeah, it was an interesting experience.
What's the biggest step up then? Is it the speed of game, which you mentioned? Is it the physicality? Is it the standards that your teammates and opposition hold you to? Like, what do you think is the biggest step up like into the AFLW?
I think it's a bit of all of it, to be honest. I think probably like you said, the standards that your teammates hold you to is probably a massive thing because like, I don't know, you're all there for the same reason. You want to just like win, and like at state levels, it's kind of the same, but it's not as serious. Like this is some girls' like whole lives, and like all they want is just to win. They want flags. They want to be the best they can be, and every single thing that you don't do that doesn't make that happen, like it's seen as like, well, you're not trying your hardest and stuff like that. So I think, I learned so much my first year. I feel like that was like, I wish I had a bit of a longer time to like adjust and then start playing, because I feel like I got drafted, preseason came straight away, and then was playing and I probably wasn't ready. I wish I kind of knew what I knew afterwards.
What was the time span between getting drafted and like playing your first game? Was it?
Yeah, it was crazy. Like I got drafted at the very end of June, and then I think like the season started in August. So it was like,
You're kidding.
Wow.
Welcome to the AFL.
That was literally, and I was just like, it was just so crazy. And then because I was doing school as well, like my whole life had like completely just changed, and like no one kind of really knew. It was crazy actually looking back. But yeah, it was that first year was just different.
Was just hearing like a couple of your answers, like has there been like a little trend of maybe a big change has been like people actually seeing you and like, oh, now like this is, like Ellis, like, you spoke about like winning a premiership and you're back to school the next day, and even playing probably in Margaret River with the boys, and then the AFLW, one of the best players in the competition. Like the big difference has been like, oh, like now this is real, like compared to like growing up and this period where you're like, I was just like, I'm just going along with the flow here. I'm drafted and then playing within like 6 weeks.
Yeah, I would say so. It's just, I don't know. It's just like happens so fast. And I don't really know. Like it still kind of feels like it's the same in that not many people know, but then they kind of do. And like I'll see people I haven't seen for a while and they'll like ask about footy and I'm like surprised they even know that I'm like playing it. So it's like, it's really weird. But I think, people are obviously getting more educated and they're hearing about it more, which is really good.
Yeah, but like deep down, I think you've got it in you that it's like, I'm just no, it sounds like it. No, I think it's a good thing. It's like maybe you don't feel it, but like now it's real. And like people that you're like, oh, what that I'm playing. Like,
yeah, definitely. It's really cool to see like when you see like people like from school, like school friends, for example, from Margaret River, and they're like, how's your footy going? Like, I'm keeping up to date with it. Like it's so like cool to hear.
So I'm wondering, maybe a step up, and again, I'm having a look at some other notes I've got here. The coaching side, and so you mentioned Hammer and being scary coach. We don't know him as a scary guy, so I'm interested to know what those are and the standards, perhaps.
Methods.
Ask her about the time I screamed at her during training for kicking barrels from 50. Effing funny, but pretty sure she cried about it, but hilarious. Did he make you cry?
He did. He was like, I reckon he was my welcome to the AFW moment. Like, I loved him and we had such a good relationship, but he was scary. And good scary, but I was 17 and there was this full big man yelling at me. Like, it was so scary. And that time he's talking about, we were doing like set shots and I was kicking torpedoes. Probably should have been practicing my routine.
No, it's great.
And it's like, kick torpedoes.
Yeah.
Like, you got to practice. You never know.
What if you need
That's what I said to him anyway.
I'll teach you both something. Don't answer back to coaching.
No, I've learned
what if I'm 60 and I need to kick one?
That was my thought process.
This is great. It's like too
funny. Literally. And I hear someone screaming at me and I'm like, oh God, it's Hammer. And he's like, Stevie, that's what he called me. He's like, Stevie, what do you think you're doing? And I was like, oh, just like having a shot, like doing what I would do in game. And then I was like, going back for another one, I'm feeling a bit flat. Like everyone's just heard him yell at me and I'm feeling like real flat and sorry for myself. And I could do a set shot, but I just like poke at it. And then he goes, Stevie, and does like this with his finger. And he's like, come here. And I was just like standing there and I like walked up to him and he's like, what do you think you're doing? And like spitting at the mouth. And I'm like looking at him like 17, like this is the scariest thing ever. And everyone's just like staring but trying not to stare, and I'm just like standing there. He's like, what do you think you're doing? Like, you got to be practicing. Like, you're not going to do that in a game. And I'm just like standing there with like tears swelling up in my eyes.
Jeepers.
And I like go back to train, like run back into the group, and everyone's like, are you all right? And I'm like, yeah. Like, it's so scary.
So
were you jailing the torpies? Like, or were you spraying them? Like, because
don't listen to Coach Dan here.
Like, if you're nailing, keep going.
Oh, I probably wasn't, but I'm just like looking back. I'm like, you're an idiot. Like, that's time for set shots. Do your set shots.
But you're 17.
I was 17.
That's probably the moral of the story.
I'm like, Hammer, give me a break. Yes. Seriously.
So the standards though, like that's a lesson for you, and you have to learn that the hard way. Yeah. And like that's what you do as a player, right?
Absolutely.
Like most of the time hard lessons are the best ones though.
Definitely. And now when I see like the young girls do it, I'm like, Go here. What do you think? Hamish is not here because he would rip you a new one. So I just politely tell him maybe not.
All right, that's good. So you mentioned Stevie there. I'm wondering why he used to call you Stevie.
Well, he would always make the new girls on their first day come up, stand in front of everyone and tell them a fun fact about themselves. And I did it and I couldn't think of any fun facts. So I just thought I'm blind. Like I wear contacts, like I'm really blind. And he was like, oh, Stevie Wonder. Instantly stuck the whole entire time he was there. I think he was there, 2 years or a year, and like all the staff completely just got on board with Stevie, and all the players that year I was just Stevie to everyone. So yeah, it was kind of cute, I guess, but it's kind of left kind of with Hammer.
So that's smart. So Ellis bought into it. The problem with nicknames is if you go against it.
If you go against it.
So just say I love the nickname.
Yeah.
I've been called Stevie. No one calls you it.
Yeah.
Hammer does love a nickname.
He did say that you didn't know who Stevie Wonder was.
I didn't know.
What?
No.
Ellis is very young.
Yeah, but okay.
I'd heard of the name, obviously, but I didn't know that he was a blind pianist. That's what Hammer said. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
So
there's also rumours that he's not blind, but that's a whole nother. That's a rabbit hole for you to go down if you're wanting to look into Stevie Wonder.
That is right. Who said that? Shaq or someone?
Or one time he caught a falling mic stand and they're like, hang on a second.
Is he like what? Supposedly completely blind?
Oh, he's completely blind.
Where's like the dark?
Oh, he's completely blind.
I did not know that.
Until he's not. He's just been tricking everyone. I don't feel like it's a good joke to be playing, to be honest. So, okay, so the standards you learned from Hamish Brayshaw, great. How does, well, actually, just staying with that and taking sort of Hammer away from it, but like, do you think that, do you think he was motivated by driving standards? Like that's, you know, like that's would have been how he was coached growing up. And do you think that was like a good thing? Like maybe toning it down or in the right way, but the actual method different, but like the actual meaning? Yeah,
I think for some girls, maybe not. For me, like I kind of like a harsh and direct like feedback. Like that's kind of what I look for, and I asked for that. So in my first year, that was probably a bit much for me, but like if he was like still our coach now, I'd be like, that's perfect. That's exactly what I'm after.
He asked if you still hear his voice when you go to the ground.
No, I do when I'm kicking torpies though.
Right. So he said that he was big on you for losing your feet.
Yes.
And I wanted to share with you my best backline coach, Daniel Pratt. Actually, I've had some good ones. Adrian Hickmont, very good. Hick was actually, they're on par, both very good. Daniel Pratt, number one thing was don't lose your feet. If you lose your feet, you're out of the contest in any realm. So I like that from Hamish. Yeah,
and it changed my game. Like, seriously, he would yell at me every single time that I would fall over after a marking contest, and I didn't even realise, like, subconsciously I was falling over. And then all of a sudden he was like, you're not doing it anymore. You're not falling over anymore. And I was like, oh, true. Like, I'm actually able to keep my feet and get the ball if it's hit the ground. Like, it actually was so good, and like, good on him. So
all right, there we go. We found a positive for Hammer's coaching style.
There was good in it.
So you weren't involved in the double season though, were you? Well, you didn't play. Yeah, you were in the second part. So, but your AFLW career has basically been standard and seasons. The last couple of years, 23, 24. You were runner-up BNF in 23. You were BNF in 24 this year gone. Your good mate, Charlie Thomas, you swap places with her each year. What's that been like to, you know, move from 17-year-old getting yelled at for doing torps to one of the best players, I think, in the competition, but certainly at West Coast? Yeah,
it's pretty crazy. Like, it's happened really quickly. Like, if I think about it, that year was only 2-3 years ago. Like, it's happened so quick, and because our seasons are so short, like it's happened in a few games. Like I've played 31 games for my whole career and across 3 years, like it's pretty crazy. But yeah, it's awesome to get rewarded, and being with like Charlie's my best mate, and like she's so happy for me when I like get BNF and over one vote over her. So like, yeah, it's really good that I've got like really good people around me that support me and are really happy for me when I do well.
Because in both those years you've made the 22 under 22. So you went in best and fairest and you're still under 22.
Yeah.
Is there any chance of you like making your way into the back line alongside Charlie? Like, you're on BackChat. I thought I'd ask. I think you'd be a good backman. Back lady.
Back lady.
You know what? Defender.
I have said to our backs coach before that I would happily do it.
Is that right?
And I find it like the coolest position, like not even going to lie. Like, I don't know, being able to, read the ball, intercept, like that's so cool to me.
Yeah.
But I have zero experience doing it, so I don't think I'd be very good.
Defensive abilities, do you think would let you down a bit?
I'm an attacker.
I've watched enough of your games to know that.
You would know.
You would be very good at reading the ball, and you'd spend a lot of time watching the ball, and then your opponent would have a good time in front of goals, I reckon. So you might be a good loose defender.
Yes, absolutely. That would be very interesting, but I do prefer the midfield. I think you get around it a bit more.
talk about some of your teammates you're close to, Charlie Thomas being one of those. Like who influences you as a player, and then maybe off field as well. Like who are the types that you're close with?
I think Charlie's a big one. I think Bella Lewis is another good one. I think she is like the definition of like the hardest trainer in like our whole team. Her and Swanee, I think, like going up against them, like you just get exhausted. Like they're just going at it. They're so fit. They're so physical. Like they've got the biggest muscles ever, and I'm just like getting absolutely smashed over anytime we do any contest work. So I like, they make me better just by like pushing me and me trying to go with them. I think they've done a lot for me in my growth, and Swanee's been really good with that as well. Like she's like so full on. I remember in my first year, like she would smash me so hard and I would literally be like in pain. And like, I was like, but like, thank you so much, because there's not many girls that are doing that to me. And I so appreciate it that you are. Because now I like want to do that to the girls in my team. So I feel like, I really idolize Swanee a lot. Like I still do. I did when I was a fan as well before I was playing. And they're really good. And then in the forward line, I think we've got a lot of good girls down there. I think Kelly Gibson's a good one, just for like leadership on the field. Like she's so smart and just knows like what to do like in game, whereas like I'm more of like a sit back, watch, maybe on the bench, like see what's happening, whereas she can just be like, okay, this is happening, Ella, go here, do this, and I forget a bit of structure sometimes and stuff like that, but she'll tell me where to go. So she's awesome. But we've got a really close knit group at the West Coast, because we're just such a young team, and I don't know, we're just like each other's best mates. So, it's a really special group there.
Can we spend a little bit of time on Emma Swanson? She's been on BackChat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great operator.
Friend of the fam.
I mean, what she does like as a firefighter and managing that with a playing career, is that motivating, inspirational?
Absolutely. I feel like I can never complain in front of her. Like, I've had a busy day. I'm like, Swanee's just worked a night shift. I can't say that. And she's just had a baby, so now she's a mum. I'm keen to see how she'll go with all that, but like she's done so well so far, and she never complains about like anything. Like if she's having a bad day, she'll just like, I don't know, suck it up. And I'm like, Swanee, it's okay to like let it out. Like you're allowed to like be sad and stuff like that. But she's just like, nah, like here's footies, walk through the yellow doors, like footies good. And I'm like, far out, you're crazy. But nah, she's like so good, and like, like I said, I idolize her so much, and I'm learning so much from her, just like leadership wise, and I love the way she goes about things as captain. I think she's a great captain, like literally obsessed with her. But she's awesome.
Sets those standards that you guys are trying to operate.
She's like, not only on the field, but off the field as well. Like she's a hard trainer, but she's also like she's like honest with you. Like some girls I find a bit hard to like have honest conversations with, where it can be a bit like direct and like sometimes negative, but like Swanee has no problem like telling me how she feels, which I really appreciate.
Another friend of the family that came and coached and started last year, Daisy Pierce. Can you tell us what it's been like since she came in and sort of your relationship with her? Yeah,
she's unreal. I think anyone you'll speak to will say the same. The hype's real. Everything that you've heard about her is absolutely true. She's been great. She's been here for over a year. It's crazy how like quick it's gone. But no, we have a really good relationship. She was really focused on kind of building those relationships before she started kind of the footy side of things. So I feel like, she has a good relationship with all the girls in the team, and I feel very like confident and safe to go to her with anything. So it's awesome having like a woman as coach. Like I've never had that before, and like I absolutely love it. Like it's so cool just being able to like chat about random stuff, and then footy, and then girl stuff, and then footy. Like, it's awesome.
I'm interested to know about that, because there's a few trends. One of which, like Daisy, incredible. I've been impressed from afar watching her, and then speaking to her, even more impressed. But what is it like being coached by a woman compared to a man? And you don't have to sledge or say anything about. Remember what's great about being coached by a woman for the first time.
Yeah, I think specifically with Daisy, also the fact that she's a past player, and the fact that it's only a few years out, like she just gets it. She gets like that you have days where it's just hard, like you don't want to do it and you're not going to be performing at your best, and she's like, that's okay, like that's normal. Like she knows that that's something that happens, and she kind of just like, she's experienced it all before, so she knows what a great team looks like. She knows what great culture is. She knows all that sort of stuff. So I think the fact that she's also, played recently is a massive thing.
Could she still run around, do you think?
Absolutely. She misses it so much.
Yeah.
It's so funny, like watching her like at training and her joining in, like she loves it.
So she joins in?
Yeah.
Great.
And she's so good.
Yeah.
She's got such a good leg on her. Like she laces people out and I'm just like, dude, why did you retire? But no, she's unreal.
Yeah, I think the best coaches I've played under have trained with the guys.
Yeah, she loves it.
Right, so she's keeping up, is she?
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah. Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, no, she'd have her parts that she'd be like, no, I can't do this today.
Exactly
Time
right.
trials.
Exactly.
She's not doing time trials. What's that side of things look like you for pre-season? I know you're at the moment in voluntary sessions, which I always do voluntary in inverted commas because it's like, hey, you can come down if you like.
Exactly.
If you're not there, good luck playing round one. No, I'm sure the club's not saying that, but that's what I mean. Just let me tell you right now. I've seen enough of these. What's a pre-season look like? And is it, similar testing regimes to the men's program?
Yeah. I think we go for, 12 weeks. So I'm not sure if that's similar to what the boys do.
I'm long removed. No
Wouldn't
idea.
know. Yeah. So we go for about 3 months and we're starting in June. So, our season's starting August, I think. So similar time to last year, which is good to get a bit of stableness.
2K time trial first day?
We're actually, this year's the first year we're not doing a 2K, we're doing a 6-minute run.
Oh, I've heard about this thing.
Yeah. For boys, that might be a 2K, but
No, it's not at all.
for the fittest, I feel like it might be.
Yeah.
But
Okay, is that a sledge or
I don't know.
is that a little shot across the bows? Sorry.
I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. I don't actually know what men in AFL are running, but for like us, that's about like 1.5 Ks, something like that, and something around there. So
you just run for 6 minutes and then
running for
wherever
6
you
minutes
stop,
flat, and you literally stop, stand where you've stopped, mark your distance.
I like that better than a time trial.
So much better. We did a practice one just the other day, just to like kind of figure out how to run it, because it's a weird like distance. Like I remember I looked at my watch and I thought I was nearly done. I only ran for 2 minutes, and I was just like, gosh, like this is new to me. Like
It's more than a steady state run.
Yeah.
You're going pretty hard,
Yeah.
but it's like long enough that you can't. It's not a sprint.
No, exactly. You have to pace yourself fully, and that's why we did one just before, just to kind of like get used to that, so that when we do actually get like timed, we kind of semi know what we're doing.
What's
You've told us that 400's your cap.
Running, just running in general. Is
So
not
401 metres onwards, like in trouble. Tell us about Daisy Pearce. What's her biggest strength as a coach, do you think?
just her knowledge. Like she's so smart, and like the way she explains things, I'm just like, how do you do that? Like, how do you think all that up there and then just like say it and it just like makes sense?
Has she influenced you as a player personally, like, and how you play?
Yeah, I'd say so. Well, you'd hope so. She's my head coach. So
Yeah, but sometimes I like, fullbacks, i.e. me, like coaches doing their thing, but, the midfielders are getting influenced. So I'm just wondering if she, the relationship you have her has changed something about your game or made you better or.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we have like lots of conversations like through the season, like what's working, what's not working. And she like is really happy to hear my opinion and what I think is best for me as a player or us as a team or something like that. She's very open to hearing all that. So yeah, we've got a really good relationship and she thinks that's all good.
You were All-Australian last year. Did you get a jacket?
Not yet. They don't come.
Excuse me.
Like, yeah.
So this is seriously.
Well, they just said we'll send it at some point.
Yeah. Charlie just
Check
got
post.
hers.
From
2023.
What?
Right. Yeah.
So the last we met in this realm, Brad Shepherd, he was 2 years.
Yeah, was it?
Right? And we got it for him. We delivered it. We hand delivered it. So I feel like, once again,
yes,
this is going to have to be something we take up. We've got a few of those happening at the moment. Mitch Marsh is best on ground in the T20 World Cup from 2020.
We've under-delivered on a couple. We're meant to find Bryce Cotton's 2016 championship ring.
That was 4 weeks ago.
No one's...
Give us some time.
Does he not have it? What?
No, he lost it the day he got it.
But so were you on stage? They gave you a jacket?
Give it back, they said.
What? Is that right?
Well, yeah.
Fake jacket.
It's okay. You don't have to say anything else.
Yeah, I'll leave it there.
All right, that's good. But yeah, that's very funny. This year for West Coast, I don't think the club has reached the heights of success that it would like to have.
Yep, fair.
Do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
fans that are watching, your teammates, others that are watching along? Like, what are your expectations out of the upcoming season?
Similar to what Duggo said this morning, I think progress.
Yes.
I think that's very realistic, and I think we're absolutely on the uphill, and like last year things were already looking better, but it's just about kind of consistency and finding some form. I think I've got expectations, I guess. I think we're definitely in a position to challenge for finals and stuff like that. So,
which you pretty much were this year.
Apart from those last couple of games, we started to drop off. But I'm really hoping to play in finals. I really want to play in finals. I love those sorts of games, those high intensity games. So that's probably my goal for this year. I'd say so.
That's good.
What do you guys need to improve on? What's the big? Is it fundamentals? Is it that moment you spoke about when it changes from attack to defense? Is it your skills? Is it what is it?
It's probably just like consistency. Like we'll have a few games where everything looks really good and our stoppages are really good. Our exits of rebound 50 are really good and all that sort of stuff. And then it kind of feels like maybe sometimes the next game we've forgotten how to do that. Yeah. So just like being able to consistently do things at a really high level is probably what I'd say we are working on.
Are you 22 now?
20.
Shit. Okay.
Still more 22 under 22.
So, like, I asked this to some guests who are in their 40s and 50s, but I'm just wondering, as a 20-year-old, like looking back to
looking back on your entire career.
No, but like looking back to like child Ella, to Ella who wanted to play first women's player to play in the men's competition. Knowing what you know now, and you know the early success you've had individually as a player, what advice would you give kid you?
Oh gosh, it's a good question. What would I say? I would say just like have an open mind to everything and just try everything. Like try out for everything. Like you're from down south, don't be scared to go up to Perth and try out for something where you know no one. Like you'll meet people and then they'll introduce you to things. Like if I hadn't have known that, like, and I hadn't have done that, I wouldn't have been at Peel. I wouldn't have got noticed. I wouldn't have got into the state. Like kind of that butterfly effect of things. Like you meet someone and they say, let's go to this. And then all of a sudden you meet people and stuff like that. So I just say, be completely open to like all opportunities.
And that could be relevant to any girl listening along right now, right?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're a bit scared to go to a training, you don't know people, like there's absolutely going to be someone there that is in the same boat. So yeah, go ask her for a kick and you'll, go from there.
I think that's a good advice for everyone.
Yeah.
That's a nice little bow on everything you've done. I'm still a bit rattled that you're 20, to be really honest, because you're an absolute superstar.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to ask about winning best on in the Derby because it's pretty impressive to win best on in a losing game.
Yeah, I was surprised, to be honest. I didn't think it was going to be like that, but very happy. Obviously would rather win the Derby and still haven't managed to do that yet, but I'm hoping maybe this year's that year. And I was obviously very honoured to win that award and being the first West Coast Eagles AFW player to do that. So it's pretty cool that my name will get to go down the history books.
History.
Do you have a goal of the year or mark of the year in you, do you think?
I want to.
Got a nomination.
$50,000 it is.
Is it?
Now we're talking.
It's ridiculous.
That's huge. So you got that nomination for like I think in your first year. Yeah, in round 9 or something.
Yeah, that was.
You don't get 50 grand to get nominated.
No, yeah, I know, but like you were 1 in 10.
Somewhat.
So what if you had to pick one goal? You got both in the arsenal.
I think mark of the year. Right. I'd rather mark of the year. I think.
All right.
So I'm like envisioning it. I'm like completely imagery. Like it's gonna happen.
Who's it on?
Maybe like a ruckman.
Yes. So I can't wait to clip this up. Like you're just taking a hanger.
One-handed on the ruckman.
Yeah. Right.
I better be calling it. I'll be going off I'll be up in the stairs like, yes, $50,000. Get her the money.
Yeah. That's huge.
We're gonna get some questions from the audience.
Yep.
But it's been awesome watching your career. It's a great chat about what you've done. Well done. You seem very modest and not wanting to pump yourself up, but I'll do it for you. One of the best players. I love watching you play. It brings me great joy to call your games on Fox Footy. So thanks for the chat, but we're not done yet.
Yes, awesome.
Social media, That's right. Not social, Schofield. Thought you might be very impressed with that little play on words. Yeah, thought you might.
She seems really impressed.
Very, very, very exciting stuff. Social media by the people for you, Ali. You've heard enough from Dan and I. Some questions for you. John Dawson.
Which current male or female Eagle players helped your development?
Can I have one of both, please? I'd like current female player and current male player.
Yeah,
that has helped my
who's
development.
Who's the best male player just around, just like helping you
around
out?
or
at West Coast?
Or any of the coaches?
Let me think,
my
actually.
former teammates, or they're giving you absolutely nothing.
I think, like, there's a few in the men's that are, like, good. I think Elijah Hewitt's coming to my head for some reason. He's given me a little tip with the palm off.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, he's kind of taught me how to do that. So thanks, Elijah.
So don't argue.
Yeah, the don't argue.
Okay, so we'll look out
can't
for
even
that.
remember exactly what he said, but something about like spinning. And then like I remember he did it to me, and he palmed me off, and I like actually like was in pain. I was like, holy
Elijah.
cow. I was like, seriously, whoa.
That's good. That's good.
I don't even know why that's what's
Not
coming
perfect.
to my
Thank you,
head.
Elijah.
And then probably like Swanee and the girls. So just like her like training standards and stuff like that. I think I'm learning a lot from her.
Sydney Harris, 92.
How do you handle the tag?
I don't think that's something I've mastered just yet. I think it's something I'm very new to and still learning. But the way I probably like to go about it is I like to like go forward or something like that. So I feel like if someone is tagging me, they're normally a bit of a smaller like midfielder, whereas if I go forward, it's kind of hard for them to go with me and then defend me. So I feel like that's kind of what I've been doing at the moment, but I feel like I haven't got that mastered just yet.
You got the palm though. You got the palm,
off.
now.
Elijah told me how
correct.
to palm off.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's good. We've covered that from Hammer. Hammer sent a question about falling over in games. He said, please continue to not do that.
Yeah.
The Jaiden.
What's your game day routine, and do players do much after the games?
Good question. My game day routine is very chill. I try not to have too much of one because I don't like to get like stuck in something, and if something doesn't go right, then I'm not going to play good or something like that.
Nice.
But I probably have a good sleep, eat carbs like pasta the night beforehand. It's normally always a pasta, and then game day. I don't even like do anything.
Music,
really.
movies.
I have to be like driving to the club with really loud like music, but like just like pop music, like nothing like
Not EDM.
no, just like Taylor Swift or something like that. Like just gets me in the zone. Like some people it's like really loud music, but it's just like chill music for me. Like that just gets me.
That's great. I just imagine
zone.
Ella just like
Taylor
windows
Swift, yeah.
down, like
Fully.
in through the tunnel or something.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it.
Love story, just
Love
pumping through.
Yeah, it's
Wrecking Ball,
great
love
game
story.
day tune. It's
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
Head is like blowing in the wind.
Yeah.
Can we get some sort of like selfie vision of this? Like, yeah. That'd be
Someone
cool.
else doing it while you're driving there.
Yes, of course. But yeah, not much. I wouldn't say.
Who's kind of in the zone? Like, if you're like relaxed, who's the opposite to you? Who's just like, you know, they've put their left shoe on first, their right shoe on, and they're not touching the banner, and they're last out. And
Soph Mac sometimes like would sleep before the game, like at the ground.
it's the defender. Dan.
Defender,
Yeah,
great
okay.
defender.
Yes.
She like, literally just like go for a nap or something like that, and just like loves her like bit
Incredible.
of peace.
Wish
I'm
I could
like,
do that.
that works for you.
That's Jet Boy. Lewis Jet used to do that.
Oh,
every
right.
day he was like, where's Jet? No, he's just asleep. On
Sleep.
Pre-game. All right, very good. Ness.
What's your cheat meal?
Oh, I have plenty of them. Cheat meal at the or in season, probably like just chopped chocolate. I love chocolate.
Right.
Top deck chocolate specifically.
I was going to say what type.
Like,
That's such an old person choice.
is it?
Yeah, you're 20. Why are you eating top
Hey, don't
deck?
you like fruit and nut or something?
That is
No,
old
no,
person.
I do not. How dare you? I like. You know what? Actually, I like Black Forest.
That's old.
That's what I was
That's
thinking.
terrible.
That's like, what is Black Forest?
It's yum.
I'm,
Top deck.
you're right, so chocolate.
That's all right.
Not a chocolate guy, to be honest.
Really?
No, it couldn't tempt me at all. But if you bought a bag of chips in here,
Yeah. Okay.
it'd be over, like within seconds.
Yeah.
I can't open one without finishing.
Sometimes we'll go to the IJ down the road and he'll grab a bag or something. Sometimes it's like nuts or even like jerky or whatever. And by the time we've gotten to the front door, it's like screwing up. He's putting it in the bin.
I would never go to the chocolate thing and start like,
Yeah.
No, but like
Yeah.
savoury snacks.
yeah, we sort of covered this foot scray boy. It's like what's it actually say?
Footy Scray Boy. What's your welcome to the AFLW moment?
Probably that hammer yelling at me. But also probably like in my first game against Aaron, I remember like lining up like a goal just being kicked, and I was being a bit of a smart ass, like kind of like went to my position while they're having a huddle. So they were like in the midfield, like having a little discussion. But I went like into my position right in the middle of it. And I remember she like pushed me and she was like, so just something like, mate, just play the game or something like that. And I like was like, oh my God, like scary. Like my idol just yelled at me like, God, but I don't know. I feel like that maybe could be.
So hang on. So you first game rolled into the midfield huddle.
Yeah.
Deliberately,
or were you
being naive, or were you like, I'm gonna get into these guys?
I was like, well, this is where am I starting? Like, this is my starting position.
Yes,
like,
I understand that, but were you like, this is? It sounds like
I was just trying to be a bit annoying.
Yeah,
that's great.
That's good.
It might have been the year after actually when we versed Port, but I do remember doing that, and I remember like just thinking, holy hell, she's just yelled at me. That's so scary.
I'd love to ask Erin about that.
Yeah,
like,
she wouldn't even remember.
Little whippersnapper rolling up, like, get out of here, little child. Like, piss off. Piss off.
Yeah.
That's very good. Here we go. Bunky Bunks 3.
Who is faster over 50 metres, you or Joe? And what's the ratio of wins at a family gathering?
Oh, Joe, my cousin. Me? Come on now. 50 metres. Me, absolutely.
So you do races at family gatherings?
We haven't for a while. We're probably due, but previously.
Is this sort of like Christmas Day? We're talking like 4 p.m. and everyone's out
just
in the
like
grass.
who's quicker, let's go run. Like, even if I think we've done it on a road before, like barefoot.
Oh, God.
Like, every Christmas.
Brilliant. Last question from the
Eggman. How do you like your eggs?
Normally scrambled, but I'm in my poached phase.
Poached era.
Yeah, poached era.
Great.
Yeah.
Ella Roberts, brilliant stuff. How'd you go? Is that fun?
Good. It was very, very fun. It was very good.
Sweet.
Right, very good.
Appreciate it.
We are done and dusted. Good luck for the upcoming season.
Thank
we'll be
you.
watching and cheering you on. If you would like to follow us on BackChat, we'd love to see you over on Instagram, BackChat_. You can send us an email or get in touch at hello@backchatpodcast.com.au. Paywise powering the podcast this year. ID Athletic, Whippersnapper Whisky, Mamba Digital, TABtouch, Shelter Brewing Co., The Leadable Precinct, On One Services, all looking after us here. Camera Electronic as well. We love them too. That's our sponsors. That's Ella Roberts.
Love it.
Thanks very much.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.